everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Neka, Niger, Canada girl, and if it's your first time watching, please hit the subscribe button so you get notifications every time I have a new video up. Guys, it's been an amazing 2019. If you got your PPR in 2019, congratulations. If you landed in 2019, if you got settled in 2019, congratulations. You're one step ahead of becoming a Canadian citizen. And if you're yet to get your PPR, whatever stage it is you are in the pool, if you're yet to get your ICA, if you're yet to get your, if you're yet to land, just hang in there. Everything will go on smoothly. 2020 is just about beginning and it promises to be a great year, which is why I am taking this opportunity to talk about something very important in this video, which is how you can stay ahead in the express entry game. Now, this applies to everyone who's still in the process, who's about starting the process, and you're becoming a bit agitated, a bit uncertain, a bit unsure because of the different changes. I'm here to tell you how exactly you can stay ahead in the express entry game. So I'll use this opportunity to talk about the express entry system, let you know what has changed, and also let you know the things you could do, like I said, to still be competitive with regardless of the new changes. Okay, so let's start with a brief intro. I'm not going to dwell too much on this because I believe by now many of us know what the express entry is. If you don't, I have some videos that explain what the express entry is, how the process works. So I'm just going to touch a bit about a summary of what the process is. Then I'll talk about the changes and how you can stay ahead. All right then. So basically, the Canadian Express Entry Program is a program by the Canadian government that allows qualified candidates to relocate here as permanent residents. So basically, you'll be coming here to live and work. Also, I always like to put a disclaimer out there. I am not an immigration consultant. I share my experiences and I share my information from experiences of my friends. Yes, I went through the express entry federal skilled worker process as well, and that is what I'll be dwelling on. So there are different programs the Canadian government has for people looking to relocate here. There's the federal skilled worker program, which is the one for people who have regular 9-to-5 jobs in that skilled worker stream. There's also the federal skilled trades. So these are people like craftsmen who have trades and all that. I will not be talking about that as that wasn't my process. And also there is a business class. So there are people who come here as entrepreneurs. They also have a stream as well. There are people who come here to study. So you can visit the Canadian immigration website. I'll make sure I put the link in my description box just so that you can see all the different ways you could come to Canada, either temporarily or permanently. So the Express Entry Federal Skilled Worker Program allows qualified candidates with work experience relocate here to Canada and also put their experiences in the field. So basically, you're coming here to work. You come here, get a job, and you use your skills which you've gained in your whatever country you will be relocating from, and you'll be using this to improve the Canadian economy. So that's the big picture of the program. Okay, now some of the requirements you need to have before you can apply for this, and the reason why I'm also making this video is I know during the course of the year I had a lot of questions about from different people wanting to know if they were eligible to apply, what it takes to apply. There were some people still in school asking if they could apply. So this video will just kind of bring some clarity to everything. Okay, so the requirement, one of the first requirements actually is that you should have work experience. So this doesn't suit you if you're still in school, you don't have full-time work experience of at least 1 year. Also, one of the other requirements is that you'll be taking the IELTS English exam. There are other options, but the IELTS is the most popular one. I've had people ask, oh, I'm from an English-speaking country. Do I still need the IELTS exam? Yes, you still need to write the IELTS exam. So that's a requirement. You also need to either have a Canadian degree, certificate, diploma, or have one from your home country. If you're using one from outside Canada, just like I did, you need to have an education credential assessment done right? So this is through bodies like WES, WES, and ICAS. So these bodies help translate your degrees or your certificates into a Canadian version. So it will say something like this is the equivalent. So after they've gone ahead to have it evaluated, it will have a report that says it's the equivalent of a Canadian, for example, bachelor's degree. It's the equivalent of a Canadian master's degree. So that's one of the requirements you need to have in terms of education. You also need to be between the ages of 21 to 40 years old. Note, however, that the older you get, so once you get to the 30 years old mark, your points begin to drop, right? So, however, you're eligible if you're between 21 years old to 40 years old. And also you need to have the required proof of funds. I'll be putting a link in my description box as well that shows you how much is needed per family size. So family of 1, family of 2, family of 3, it varies. So depending on where you fall under, you need to have proof of funds for that category. Okay, so now these are the requirements. So how then do you apply for the Express Entry, Federal Skilled Worker Express Entry program, right? So how you apply for this after you have all this together is there's an application form on the Canadian Immigration and Refugee website where you start your application. The reason why all these things I mentioned earlier are requirements is that in the course of the application, you'll be requested for them. So it's best you have your IELTS done and you also have your credentials evaluated by bodies like WES or ICAS even before you start to fill that form. So what exactly happens after you apply? Now, note that this program is open to the entire world. So Canada is opening its doors, not just to Nigerians, not just to Africans, but to everyone who's qualified in the world. So just imagine it as this pool where, well, let's not say pool, that could be a bit confusing. We're not going swimming here, okay? So just imagine it as this giant classroom where everyone who applies is let into. So you're all sitting in a classroom and a teacher walks in every time and announces a cutoff score. And when he announces that cutoff score, everyone who has that score is sent an invitation to apply. So it's a point-based system. So your education gives you some points, your work experience gives you some points, your age gives you some points. There are things that give you extra points, like if you're married and your spouse is also having his or her degree evaluated, that will give you extra points. If you can speak the Canadian second language, which is French, as well as English, and you have the test results to show for it as an exam, you write, that's extra points. If you have siblings in Canada, that is extra points as well, right? So you have points. I also have a video on how exactly, these are called CRS points, CRS scores. I have a video I'll be putting in my description box on how you can check to see what your CRS score potentially would be even before you apply. Okay, so now I'm back to my analogy of the classroom. So every month there are about 3 to 4 draws in a month. Most times it's between 2 to 3 draws where a new cutoff will be announced, and every candidate that has from that cutoff and above will be sent an invitation to apply. So this means you are eligible to apply. Now, let's assume, for example, right now the cutoff score is 462. So this person comes into the classroom and announces, everyone with 462 and above, move this way. You have been sent an invitation to apply. What happens if you don't have the cutoff? You remain in the classroom and you keep doing whatever it is you can to increase your points so that you are able to get at least up to the cutoff point. Now, note that it's dynamic. It's always changing. The Canada Express Entry process is not static. Fast forward to some years ago, I think about 2 years ago, once upon a time, there was a cutoff of 413, but we haven't seen anything that beautiful in the last 1.5 years. Like, it's been 460 and above, right? So basically, you remain in the pool, in the classroom, and you keep trying to improve your points until you have enough points for the cutoff at that time. The cutoff could increase to 470. It could also reduce to 460. So you see what I mean? Now, just to put things in perspective, So the more qualified people you have in the pool, the higher the cutoff points. So let's use an example. Let's assume you have a first degree, a bachelor's degree, and you are 29 years old and you're in the pool waiting, right? You have points for those factors and some other factors, including your scores in the test, years of work experience and all that. Okay. Now, still in that pool, there's someone else who's also 29 years old, but guess what? The person has a master's degree. The person has a second language, can speak French, and has the French exam results to show for it. This person also has a sibling in Canada, right? Guess what? This person is more qualified than you are. So definitely the person would have higher points in the pool. Now, when people who are more qualified, the more qualified people you have in the pool, the higher the cutoff, right? So let's assume the cutoff used to be 450, and then because of all these qualified people, the scores go higher. It now becomes about 460 something, right? So this means that you also have to put your best foot forward and see what you can do to increase your points. Some factors are not changeable. For example, you can't change your age, but there are other things that could give you additional scores. One of the most popular ones is the provincial nomination program. Now, this is where different provinces send you an invitation to apply through their province. When you have this, you automatically have 600 points extra. Another way to increase your points is by getting a job offer before you land, which gives you, I think it's over 300 points extra. However, this is very difficult because before any employer can prove to the government that they need to hire someone from outside the country, there is something called a labor market impact assessment they need to go through. So basically what this does is they are telling the government, we've searched everywhere in the country and we couldn't find any person with this person's skills, which is why we're trying to employ this person. Trust me, that's a difficult one to pull off. That is why it's often difficult to get a job offer. I've had that question a lot. So that's why this is the answer to that question. Can you get a job before coming? So that is why it's quite difficult to get a job before landing, because the employers, first of all, would rather fish from within Canada. They aren't looking to transfer processing papers for you, to start processing papers with the government, to tell the government that they have searched the whole Canada and couldn't find anyone with those skills, right? It has to be a really rare skill for them to fish from outside Canada, right? Now, so these are some of the ways you can improve your points. So I know I've had people ask me, Neka, how many months did it take you? So when I went through my process, I think from start to finish, it took me less than 3 months, so about 3 months. Now, when I say start to finish, this includes writing my, let's just say this is from writing my outs to when I submitted my application and got my PPR. However, this is constantly changing. The system isn't the same. If I were to rewind time to when I had mine done and the current cutoff score was what applied then, 462, I probably wouldn't even be qualified. My cutoff then was 460, which then was really high. I had age going for me. I had a master's degree, so my out score was high. So I had 460. Well, right now, guess what? Even my 460 won't get me in the pool, right? So what is it you can do right now to give yourself an edge? How exactly can you keep ahead in the race regardless of the changing and increasing points, right? Now, my advice number 1 is that you employ the services of a certified immigration consultant. Trust me, I have seen a lot of fake immigration consultants. I've even seen some on Instagram that clone other people's content, copy other people's content. And so, for example, a testimonial, they just pull it right off someone's page, put it on their page and make it seem as though they were the agency the person used. So you need to be careful. There are a lot of sharks in this water, in this pool, so to speak, right? So a lot of people are just out there to dupe you, defraud you, and make you broke without achieving what you set out to achieve. So make sure you're using the services of a certified immigration consultant or lawyer, right? You could slide into my inbox. You could send me an email and I would send you some recommendations. Now, they have different packages, right? Find out the packages they have. I'm saying this because even though the points are high, immigration consultants, this is what they have been trained to do. They have the edge of experience working for them. Imagine how many people they've helped in the process. They also have the edge of information from the government, right? So whenever there's a new program, they're always the first to know. So even though, yes, it's all the federal skilled worker program, there are many other streams we don't know about. There's the Atlantic program. I have no business knowing about it, or I had no business knowing about it when I had mine because I went through the federal process. I didn't even have to go through the provincial nomination. So I'm not even an authority in that field. So you need to employ the services of an immigration consultant who is familiar with all the different possible legal ways to relocate to Canada permanently, and he or she can point you in the right direction. It might cost you, but eventually it's going to be worth it, okay? So right now, just getting up and saying, you know what, let me do this myself. Let me just go do the test, do my WES. I'm not saying it's not possible. Definitely, if you do a lot of research, you can do it yourself. But if you know you're not armed with the information you need, I would advise that you consult with an immigration consultant. So that's your way out number one. Way out number two, you need to start getting familiar with all the programs like the provincial nomination. So different provinces have different ways. There isn't this one size fits all provincial nomination route, right? Different provinces have different programs they have through which they can invite people to come apply through their province to relocate to Canada. So you need to find out how the different provinces work. There are some provinces that you might not be qualified for the program they offer. For some others, you might. So do a lot of research. You have to, and this research is, and sometimes it's not just the internet. You need to also talk to people who recently went through these programs, right? And make sure you're talking to the right people. So that's a longer route, but if you have the resources, I would advise that you do this research. So number one, an immigration consultant. Number two, find out about other streams. There are a lot of helpful videos on YouTube I've stumbled upon that also talk about some of these programs, right? So if you have the time to also delve into some YouTube videos, do a lot of research and find out the other ways, that would be great for you. So like I said, guys, a lot of things have changed. So these are some of the things I think you can do to help you stay ahead of the game. So like I said, guys, I believe 2020 will be a great year. So if you're in the process, if you've not started, do not be deterred. The points might be higher, it might be fiercer, more competitive, policies might be changing, but you can still do it. It all starts with a consultation with an immigration consultant, and I'm always happy to recommend, and they'll be able to point you in the right direction. There are testimonials of many candidates who had no idea what they were doing, whose points were so low, even as low as the 400, like maybe 401, 400. However, they were able to get immigration consultants who could point them in the right direction and tell them the right program they could apply for to boost their points. They got their provincial nominations, got 600 points extra on top of the 400, and of course they were in the among the high numbers in the pool. So definitely when the next draw came, they were qualified. The cutoff was way over, their points were way over the cutoff, and they were able to apply. So guys, for every video I've previously explained different things like how to check your CRS score, how to boost your points. I would share the link in my bio. Have an amazing 2020 and look forward to more videos, more development from me. Take care and have a lovely 2020. Bye.